G'day everyone and welcome to part 5 in this series, Learn to Code HTML for Beginners. Now in the last video we spoke about lists, and in this video we're going to talk about one of the most important elements in HTML, links. Before we begin, if you could please like this video and subscribe to my channel, I'd really appreciate it. It helps me a lot in trying to grow the channel. But with that being said, let's jump straight into it. So the reason we use links in HTML, there's a couple of different reasons, okay? One is obviously to link to external sites. So for example, if you build a portfolio website, you might want to have a link to your LinkedIn, your YouTube channel, your GitHub, your Instagram, whatever it might be. There's also a number of other uses which we'll talk through in this video, but to begin, let's talk about linking to another site, okay? Now, the first thing I want to point out is the link that we're going to use is different than this link tag that we use in our heading, okay? This link is used to connect other files in our page. So for example, if we wanted to attach a CSS file or if we wanted to attach a JavaScript file, we do that up here using this link, okay? Also, once we start talking about CSS a little bit down the line, we'll be using links here if we want to use, say, a Google font, for example. We want to change our font, we can actually import a different font using these links up here, okay? That's different though than the link we'll be using in this body tag, all right? And what we use here to link is an A tag or an anchor tag, okay? So it starts off with this A, all right? And in here, we're going to write, so let's say we want to link to Google, right? So we're going to call this Google. And here, we have to give it one of these hrefs, all right? So the hypertext reference. So over here, we'll say href, and now we need the actual website that we want to link to, all right? So in this case, we're just going to use Google. I'll just copy and paste this in here. So we'll save that and refresh our page, and now we have this link, okay? And you'll see if we click on this link, now it brings us to Google, okay? And we can do that for whatever site we want. It doesn't matter whether that's a page you have, whether it's your Instagram, it's a different website that you want to use. That'll work for pretty much every website online that you want to link to. Now, one thing though that we might want to do, especially if we have a portfolio or really actually any website that we're using, is a lot of the times we won't want to close our website down when we click on a link, okay? We don't want to be driving users away from our site. So what we can do is we can add a target here, and inside of here we say underscore blank. We'll save that. And now you'll see what happens is when we click on this link, it actually opens Google in a new page, but we still have our site open here, all right? Actually close both of them, and we'll try that one more time, right? So if we get rid of this, hit save, refresh here, what happens is when we click on this, it just opens up in this window, all right? We'd prefer it to open up in a new window so that our site is still open. So we'll save that, refresh here, boom. Okay, now the next thing we're going to look at is links on our page. All right, so this link that we're working on here is what's known as an absolute reference, okay? So it's bringing us to a different page, and that's why we have to put in this HTTPS at the start, okay? What we're going to do now is we're going to add a link to somewhere on our page. So we'll get rid of all of this, and I'm going to put in a, let's say a H3 there, okay, and we'll say profile, and just under it we'll add this P tag, and we'll say lorem times 3, and that'll give us what that text, it's called lorem ipsum, okay? You can get a lorem ipsum generator online if you search it online, or you can just use the shortcut that I've done, but it's basically dummy text just to give us an idea of what's going to be on our page, okay? So if I save that now, we have this text, okay? Now let's add in a couple of these rows. I just want to fill the page out a little bit, and then we'll add this in again. Try that. We'll do that twice more. Or we'll just copy and paste this whole thing. Okay, now we refresh that. Okay. So we have this profile section 4 times. Now let's say the top one is going to be our profile. We'll pretend this is our portfolio, right? This is going to be our work experience. This is going to be my projects. And down here, this can be our, I don't know, our skills. So we'll save all of this, okay? And now we see all the different options we have. Now what we're going to do is we'll start off, say, with this skills one here. And what we want to do is we want to give this an ID, which we can then reference when we want to actually link to it, okay? So because we're going to link to this ID. So we'll call this skills. And up on the very top of the page here, we're actually going to add this in here. So it's href here. So we'll type skills here. And then the ID that we've given is this skills, right? So that's what we want to reference here. But to do that, we have to first put in a hashtag, okay? And now when we hit refresh, we have this skills button here. So once we click on this, this should bring us down to our skills section. And there it is. Okay, so we'll try that again. And it brings us down here to the skills section. Okay, now we can do this for all of them. So what do we have? We have profile, we have our work, so we'll just call that work. We have projects, hit save. Actually, we better give them the target, sorry. So again, we'll just grab this. Okay. So in the project section, we'll give this an ID of projects. In the work experience section, we'll give this an ID of work. And in the profile section, we'll give this an ID of profile. Hit save. Okay, so let's try this. So skills, we have projects, it'll bring us down. Probably won't do much for work, it comes down to there. And profile, yeah, it moves a tiny bit, but the profile is at the top. Okay, now again, when we start working on CSS, we can change this so that that menu stays stuck to the top of the screen at all times. So even if we go all the way down to skills, we'll still see this menu on the top of the screen, okay? But that's how we use the reference, or the links, okay? So it's that A tag, you put the href, you link where you want to go, and then obviously the name that you want on the link goes here, okay? If we're using an absolute reference, so a reference to bring us to a completely different website, we need to put in the full URL, so http / whatever it is. If we're using this same page reference, we need to obviously assign the ID to where we want to link to, and then we need to reference that ID up here using this hashtag. Now, the last thing we're going to talk about, and probably the most important thing with links, is actually building out our site. Okay, so we'll get rid of all of this for the moment. Hit refresh here. And what am I talking about here? So we have this one web page at the moment, all right? So whatever we put on the web page, it's showing up here. But we know most of the times when we're on a site, whether it's a social media platform, whether it's YouTube, whether you're on Google, there's normally a lot of different pages that you can click to. You can press on links that bring you to other parts of the site. If you think of maybe the likes of Amazon, so you can browse through a particular set of products, you can click on that product, it brings you to a new screen where there's details about that product, you select that to buy it, you can click on the button which will bring you to your shopping basket. So there's all these different pages to build a complex site. And HTML is no different, okay? So what we'll do is we're going to actually, first of all, we're going to build a couple of different pages, all right? And to do that, we're going to copy this straight over. Or actually, do you know what we'll do? Yeah, no, we will. We'll copy this, okay? And see here we have our index HTML. Let's build another page. We'll create file and we'll call it contact.html. And we'll paste this in, okay? And in here we can actually just give me my sentence here. Okay. So in here we can actually just say this is our contact page. Okay, we can change. You can change some of this later. Okay, my contact page, whatever you want to do. Okay, so that is our contact page. We'll hit save and that, and then we want one more of these files. We'll have an about page. Now it's entirely up to you what you want to name these pages, but as we said the last time, it has to end in that .html, okay? Okay, and we'll say this is our about page and my about page. Okay, so let's go back to index.html. And what we're going to do is we want to have, let's say this is our main page, our home page of our portfolio, okay? And here we've created our contact page where if somebody wants our contact details, they can click on there, and we have our about page, okay? So what we're going to do is we're actually going to create a menu to click between these different pages. So what I'm going to do is we're going to start off with this unordered list that we spoke about the last time, okay? And we'll have our list item, and inside of our list item, we're going to have one of these link tags that we spoke about there, okay? And we'll say this is home. We'll start off with the home, okay? So our home page is this index.html. So our reference is going to be our our index.html, okay? And this is just this page. So anytime we click on this button, it's just going to bring us to this page. Now, I know you're probably wondering, why am I putting this on this page? And the reason being is that once I've completed this, I'm actually going to copy and paste this menu onto our about page and our contact page. So the same menu will show up on all three pages, so we can link between them, okay? Now, so that is our home page. Now, we want a link to our about page next. And these references that we're using here, these hrefs, this is what's known as a relative reference, okay? Meaning that we spoke about a moment ago absolute references where we want to link to a completely new website, completely away from our page. Here though, these files are actually inside of our directory, okay? So we don't need to add a HTTP / anything like that. We just need to name the file, okay? Now, so that's a link there, and we want to call that our about page, and then last one we'll do here, we are going to have our contact page, and this links to our contact.html. Now underneath this I want to have our line. Let's see how that's looking. Perfect. And here we'll just have a h2 that says homepage. Now I'm going to copy all of this, okay, so from our h2 right up to the top of our list, and I'm going to go to our contact page and we're going to paste that in here, okay? So everything will remain the same, but we also want this to say contact page. All right, and we'll do the same with the about. Inside of this body tag, we'll link that here, except here we want this to say about page. Now we'll hit save on that and we'll refresh. Now I'm going to put this full size for a moment just to show you. So at the moment, I can actually get rid of this. Okay, so at the moment you can see we are on this index.html file. Okay, now what we're going to do is click about. So you see this changes. We're now on our about page, and the file up here has changed. We can go to our contact page, we can go back to our home page. Okay, so there's our contact page, and now back to home. So no matter what ones of these pages, so this is the page we've been working at the whole time. Okay, this is our index.html. So if I go back here and write something, just whatever it is, just p tag, test, save, refresh. That's the page that we're on here. Okay, now when we click onto about, you won't see that, right, because we haven't added that to our about file. Okay, but all we're doing is we've 3 separate pages here. If this link wasn't here, we wouldn't be able to jump between them without actually adding on, changing this manually. Okay, but what we've done is we've created that list menu, and we've copied and pasted that to each page. And what that's going to allow us to do now is it allows us to jump between pages really easily. Okay, and these are 3 separate pages. They're not connected in any way, only for this list that we've added in. Okay, so to go back over that again, we've created 3 different pages. Okay, so we have our index.html. You could change that and call that your home.html, your homepage HTML, whatever you want to do. But we've these 3 different files here. We have created this list that has a link to the home page, a link to the about page, and a link to the contact page. The link to the page goes in here in this href, and then the actual name that you want on the link goes here. What are we on here? The home page, right? In this home page, we could change this to home page, and that'll be affected up here when I hit refresh. Okay, but if we click to the about page, we haven't made them changes here yet. Okay, so we'll go back to the home page, refresh. We'll change this back to home. Okay, and here is our link to each page. As we said, remember this is a relative reference, so we are connecting to files within our directory. Okay, if we wanted to connect to a different website, we can add just one more in here. We want to connect to Google, say. Well, this isn't going to work unless we add in the full HTTPS. And now when we hit refresh, if we want to go to Google, we can do that. Okay, so that'll just about do it for this video. Have a go at that yourself. Try it. Try to create some files. To tidy up after this, if you want to remove it, it's as simple as just delete that file, move to trash, delete that, move to trash. If you want to, you can obviously hold on to it if you like. Obviously now these links aren't going to work, so if we refresh this and try to click on about, the file doesn't exist anymore. So again, you can play around with this, create your own files, create different pages that you want to direct to. You can add whatever buttons you want to your map, but that'll do it for this video. So in the next video, we're going to be talking about images, so keep an eye out for that. And other than that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll speak to you in the next one.